How to subtract hexadecimal numbers. In this tutorial, we will describe how to subtract hexadecimal numbers. In the terms involved in math operations video, we will discuss terms involved in subtraction. Since we will be subtracting hexadecimal numbers, the operands involved in subtraction are minuend and subtrahend. The results would be the difference. For example, let us subtract the following. Okay, with subtraction, once again, we have the terms minuend, subtract the subtrahend, and it will produce a difference. For this example, in the decimal base, we have the value 51,595, and we're going to subtract the value 6,956, and this will produce a difference of 44,639. I have some notes up to the left. We're going to need it because we're dealing with hexadecimal numbers. 16 to the 0 power is 1. 16 to the 1 power is 16. 16 to the second power is 56. 16 to the third power is 4,096. Also, some other notes to the right. Since we're dealing with hexadecimal numbers, remember once we get past digit number 9, we start using letters. So A represents 10, B represents 11, C represents 12, D represents 13, E represents 14, and the letter F represents 15. Back to the values here, over to the right side, for the value 51,596, its hexadecimal representation is C9,8B. For the value 6,956, its hexadecimal representation is 1B2C. So let's compute. Alright, so we want to start with the least significant column, and so that'll be right here. Alright, so B, we want to subtract C from B, and that's the same thing as saying 11 subtract 12, and that's going to produce a negative number, and that's not what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow from the next significant column towards the left. So what we do here, let me go ahead and just draw that out. So we subtract 1 from 8, and that leaves 7. But when the borrow in column actually to one towards the least significant side, it's going to really add a value of 16. So we're going to add 16 plus B together, and this is going to produce 11 plus 16 equals 27. So this is the same thing as saying 27, and since C represents 12, we're going to say minus 12. That's going to produce a value of 15. We say in hexadecimal, the value of 15 is the letter F. So F goes here. Alright, so let's go ahead and subtract using the next significant column. We have 7 subtract 2, we get the value 5. Now let's go to the next significant column. We have the value 9 subtract B. It's the same thing as saying 9 subtract 11, which will produce a negative number, and that's not what we want. So we're going to borrow from the next significant column, which is towards the left. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 1 from C, and that leaves the letter B. And the value being borrowed is 16. And we pretty much add 16 and 9 together, and this will produce a value of 25. So let's replace that. And so we have 25 minus b is the same thing as saying 25 minus 11. And I give you a value of 14. And we say 14 is represented with the letter E. So E goes in this column. Now let's subtract at the next significant column. So we have B, subtract 1, and we get the letter A. And this is our value. So let's show, we always like to look at the position here. So we will say F is in the 0th position, 5 is in the first position, E is in the second, A is in the third position. So let's try to compute. And this is the same as saying A times 16 to the third power, because we say that the letter A is in the third position. Plus we have E times 16 to the second power plus 5 times 16 to the first power plus F times 16 to the 0 power. All right, let's go right below. Let's break it out further. The letter A is represented with the value 10. So it's the same as saying 10 times, and 16 to the third power, that's what we showed up here, is the value 4096. All right, now the next parentheses, we have the letter E, and we say that's represented as the value 14. So let's put 14 here. Times 16 to the second power is 256. Plus 5 times 16, because 16 to the first power is just 16. And then we have the letter F, which it represents the value 15. Times 1, because anything to the 0 power is 1. And let's see, let's go below. So 10 times 4096, that's 40,960. And then we have the value 14 times 256. So 14 times 256 is 3584. And then we have 5 times 16 is 80. And 15 times 1 is 15. And we add all the items. So we get 40,960 plus 3584 plus 80 plus 15. And that's a value of 44,639. And this is what we wanted to show. Next, let us perform another hexadecimal subtraction. This time we will subtract numbers with a decimal point. Alright, once again we're going to perform another subtraction, and when you're dealing with subtraction we have terms involved with it. The minuend and you subtract the subtrahend from the minuend, and you will get a difference. For this example, we want to use a value 51,370.50 minus 6,920.25, and our expected value is 44,450.25. Towards the right, we have his hexadecimal representation for the value 51,370.50. Its hexadecimal representation is C, 8, A, 0.8. For the value 6,920.25, its hexadecimal representation is 1, B, 0, 8.4. Let's compute. All right, so once again, we want to start with the least significant column, and that's always the one to the far right. Let's go ahead and try to line this up. Now this time we're dealing with decimal points, so I'm going to go ahead and line that up. And let's begin. So towards the right we have 8. Subtract 4, we get the value 4. And let's go to the next significant column. We have A minus 8. And A is a value of 10. So really let's just say this is 10 here. And so 10 subtract 8, we get the value 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and subtract the next significant column. We have A, subtract 0 is A. Let's go to the next significant column. We have 8 minus B. It's the same thing as saying 8 minus 11, and it's going to produce a negative value, and this is what we do not want this. So what we're going to do is borrow. So we'll say C minus 1 is B, and that borrowing column will get a 16. So we add these two together, and we get 16 plus 8 is a value of 24. So 24 is represented here, minus B, which is 11. So 24 subtract 11 is the value 13. And 13 is represented in hexadecimal by the value D. All right, let's go to the next significant column towards the left, and we have B minus 1 is going to be the letter A. And so we have the value ADA 2.4. So let's compute or convert and see if this comes out to be the value of 44,450.25. So we have, so the 2 here is in the 0th position, A is in the first position, D is in the second position, A is in the third position, and because the 4 is to the right of the decimal point, is in the minus 1 position. So let's see what we have. All right, so we have A times 16 to the third power plus D times 16 to the second power plus A times 16 to the first power plus 2 times 16 to the 0 power plus 4 times 16 to the minus 1 power. All right, so let's go ahead and break it down further. We say the letter A is represented with the value 10, so this is the same as saying 10 times 16 to the third power. We indicated that up here is the same as the value 4,096. So we'll put that here. plus D in hexadecimal is represented at the value 13 times 16 to the second power, which is the value 256. Alright, and then we have the letter A again, which is the value 10 times 16 to the 1 power. It's the same as saying 16. And then we have 2 times 16 to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is a value 1. And then we have 4 times 16 to the minus 1 power. And that's the same as saying 1 over 16, which is a value of 0.0625. So we'll put that here. Six, 2, 5. All right, so let's add up. Let's see. So this is the value 40,400. Let me see here. This is, let me multiply that. So that's 96 times 10. So that's 4,900. Actually 40,960. That goes there. And we got 13 times 256. That's the value 3328. And then we got 10 times 16 is 160. And then 2 times 1 is 2. And then 4 times 0.0625 is the same as 0.25. And this is the value, let's see, add it up. It's 40,960 plus 3328 plus 160 plus 2 plus 0.25. And this is the value 44,450. 0.25. And this is what we wanted to show. This puts us in a position for my next tutorial where we describe the multiplication of hexadecimal numbers. I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you find this tutorial to be helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also feel free to join us here at the Computing Sector. There will be more videos and tutorials coming soon. Thanks.